Hello, hello. Welcome back to No Me Callo. I won't stay quiet. I'm your host, Jessica Lomelin, and today I want to talk to you about something you might not have had the courage to say out loud. Something that's burned in your chest more than once. Something you felt when life messes you up a little or completely knocks you down without warning, without permission, and without mercy. I want to talk about those moments that break you. Yes, those. The ones that hurt in places you didn't even know existed. The ones that leave you shaking. The ones that keep you staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m, wondering what the hell you're doing with your life. The ones that leave you breathless, with no answers, no energy, no motivation, no direction, because we've all had one. That exact moment when it feels like someone turned off the light inside you. That instant where you ask yourself, why me? Why like this? Why now? That moment that leaves you on the floor, physically or emotionally. The one that brings you to your knees, bends you, makes you question everything. Your past, your present, your choices, your wounds, your strength, your limits, your dreams, all of it. And nobody prepares you for that. Nobody teaches you what to do when your world falls apart in a single second. Nobody tells you that some tears burn, that some silences weigh, that some nights feel longer than the sunrise. Nobody tells you that sometimes, even when you're surrounded by people, you can feel completely alone. And I also want to talk to you about something bigger than that pain. Something hiding underneath the chaos, underneath the mess, underneath the tears you didn't tell anyone about, underneath the broken version of yourself you think you are right now. And I want to talk about what is born when you feel that you have nothing left. What wakes up when life rips away what you swore was yours. What shows up when you're exhausted from holding together the unholdable. I want to talk about the best, most powerful version of you. The one that rises after everything falls apart. Because yes, even if you don't believe it today, even if you're tired, hurt, confused, broken, or paused, there is something waiting for you. Something strong, something clear, something yours. Something that can only appear once everything else collapses. And today, we're talking about that the pain that knocks you down and the rebirth that lifts you back up. So today's episode is called Los momentos más difíciles te llevan a lo más chingón de tu vida. The hardest moments lead you to the best things in your life. So you already know what to do. Get comfortable, grab your coffee, your cafecito, your glass of wine, or your cold beer, and get ready to chismear with me. I know that when you're in the middle of pain, when life is squeezing your soul, when you feel like you can't anymore, nobody wants to hear cheap motivational quotes. Nobody. When you're at that point where you can barely breathe, when your chest feels heavy, when your mind won't stop, when your heart is in pieces, the last thing you want is someone showing up with a cute quote, a piece of advice you never asked for, or a pat on the back that makes you feel even more alone. In fact, it pisses you off. And I say this because it happened to me too. Because I've been there. In that place where you hear someone tell you, everything happens for a reason. God has a plan. You'll understand later. You're strong. This will make you a better person. And inside, you're screaming, shut up. I don't want to understand anything. I don't want to be strong. I don't want a lesson. I just want it to stop hurting. Because in that moment, you don't want wisdom. You don't want clarity. You don't want fake philosophy. You don't want explanations. What you want is for the burning to stop, for the breaking to stop, for someone to give you back what you lost, whether it's a person, a dream, a version of yourself, a hope that no longer exists. The only thing you want is for someone to see you, someone who understands you, someone who doesn't try to fix you, just sits with you. You want someone to hold you and say, honestly, I'm here. I know this is really freaking hard. I'm not going to minimize it. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to rush you. I'm just here. And that's why today I want to sit here with you like this. No mask, no filter, sin pelos en la lengua, not pretending I have it all figured out because I don't. No Pinterest quotes that do nothing when you're standing in the middle of your personal hurricane. Just you and me having a real conversation. A human conversation. A conversation that doesn't try to save you, but walks with you while you find yourself. Because the truth, the raw, honest truth is this. The hardest moments, the ones that hurt the most, the ones that break you, the ones that leave you crying on that floor, are exactly the moments that turn you into the most badass version of yourself you could ever imagine. But, and here comes the hardest part, that only happens when you stop running from it, when you stop escaping, when you stop avoiding what you need to feel, when you stop numbing yourself, when you sit with your pain and say, it's okay, talk to me. Because sometimes life doesn't scream, it whispers, and you can't hear it until you get still. And like I said, I know exactly what it feels like to be in moments like that. And I'm not speaking from theory, I'm not speaking from a book. I'm speaking from my own floor, from my own knees, from my own nights where I cried myself to sleep, and my own mornings where I woke up without wanting to wake up at all. Not long ago, I lived that moment just like that. One of those moments, it doesn't just mark you, it breaks you. It opens your soul like a wound that burns, that bleeds, that stings, and you still have to keep walking with it. It was one of those moments that leaves a scar that never goes away. One of those that doesn't hurt anymore, but never forgets. One that reminds you who you were and who life forced you to become. I remember perfectly. I haven't forgotten. And I woke up a morning that looked completely normal and felt like my whole world had slipped out of my hands. Just like that, suddenly, no warning, no time to prepare, no room to negotiate anything. I felt like I was losing something or someone, and I never thought I'd lose. Something I took for granted, something I believed was safe, something I thought I would last forever. But life, has a pretty brutal way of showing you it won't. And I won't lie to you, it hurt. It hurt more than I had ever admitted. It hurt in places I didn't know existed. It broke me. And it tore away parts of me I thought were permanent. It took dreams I had built for years. It crushed things I thought were guaranteed. And it left me there, lost, staring at the ceiling, thinking, what am I supposed to do with this empty space now? I didn't understand anything. Nothing made sense. I kept repeating, why? Why me? Why now? When did everything fall apart? At what moment did life decide to change the script without telling me? And I swear to you, there was no answer. There was only silence. A heavy silence. A silence that hurt more than any words. And there were nights when I talked to God with a level of honesty I had never reached before. There were days I didn't want to eat. Days I couldn't think. Days when my body was there, but I wasn't. Days when the only thing I could do was breathe. And sometimes not even that. And then there was one moment that changed everything. And it wasn't a miracle. It wasn't a sign from heaven. It was something much simpler. A truth that hit me like cold water. This is not the end. This is the beginning. And that idea pissed me off so bad at first because I was like, how is this the beginning if I'm destroyed? How is this the beginning if I feel like I lost everything? How is this the beginning if I don't even have the strength to get up? But life has a very specific, very intense way of showing you that what you called an ending, it's called a beginning. Little by little, when I say little by little, I mean very little by little, I started to understand something. That sometimes life takes away what you love most, and not to punish you, but to return you to yourself. That sometimes it leaves you with nothing, so you dare to build something completely new. That sometimes it breaks you, so light can come in through the cracks. And I discovered something else, that moment I thought was my ruin was actually the beginning of everything incredible that came after. Because life sometimes breaks you, I know, but not to destroy you, to make space for something new, something that couldn't fit inside you while you were still holding on to what was already dead. Sometimes life takes away what was hurting you, even if you were clinging to it like it was the only thing keeping you alive. You held on out of habit, or maybe out of fear, out of loneliness, out of not wanting to start over, out of fear of losing the little you had, but that little was already costing you your entire life. And sometimes life leaves you with nothing, strips you down, empties you, tears away everything you thought was yours, so you can finally make space for everything, for what's aligned, for what vibrates with you, what nourishes you, for what truly deserves you. But in that moment, you don't see it like that. In that moment, all you feel is the hit, the hole, the emptiness, the silence. And other times, life simply stands right in front of you, crosses its arms, and says, you can't keep living like this, not anymore. You're not that version of yourself who was just surviving, the one who accepted crumbs, the one who stayed quiet to keep the peace, the one who carried pain that wasn't yours, the one who made themselves small to not bother anyone. You're not her anymore. You're not him anymore. It's time to be reborn. But of course, who sees rebirth when they're crying on the floor? Nobody. You don't see it in that moment. You only see the ending. You only feel the loss. You only hear the silence and think, this is where everything ends. You don't see it there. You see it later, much later, when you start even just a little to get your voice back. When one day you look in the mirror without trying, without expecting it, and say, wow, I'm stronger than I thought. You see it when you start getting up little by little. And it's not a pretty rise. Nope. It's pretty clumsy. It's slow. It's exhausting. It's scary. It's full of doubt. But even then, you get up. You see it when you start breathing without it hurting as much. When you notice your chest still feels, but no longer breaks the same. when the tears don't fall the way they used to, when you don't shatter at every little thing, when you can sleep a little longer, when you can eat without feeling sick, when you can talk without your voice cracking every 3 words. And the wildest part, you realize you didn't die. You didn't stay there. You didn't give up. Your story didn't end. And not only did it not end, it started over, stronger, clearer, more honest, more yours, more powerful. Because yes, life knocked you down, but you chose to get back up. With wounds, with scars, with fear, with trembling hands, with tears still in your eyes, but you stood up, and that is the most powerful thing a person can do. So I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly, without minimizing it, without pretending you're strong out of habit. What has been the hardest moment of your life? Yes, that one. The first one that came to mind. The one you don't want to remember because it still burns, even after years. The one that tightens your throat if you name it. The one that changed the way you breathe. Bring it here. And not to hurt you, not to reopen wounds, but to acknowledge something no one has ever told you. Breathe. Don't run from it. Don't hide it. Don't cover it with work, distractions, forced laughter, or busyness. Just feel it for a second. That moment that split your life in two, has weight, has meaning, and has a power you might still be avoiding. Now ask yourself this, with all honesty. Who am I today because of that? Not in spite of it, because of it. Who am I today because of that pain that cut through me like lightning? What strength did I have to learn that I didn't know existed? What boundaries did I have to create that I had never allowed myself to set? What part of me was born right there in the middle of the hate, in the chaos, in the darkness? Because here's something to think about. Before that moment, you were one version of yourself. After that moment, you became another, stronger, wiser, braver, more aware, more awake, more you. Sometimes what hurts the most is exactly what reveals you the most. That day you hit the floor and said, I can't do this, was the same day you started learning that you could. That day you cried hidden away, afraid someone would see you broken, was the same day your soul began rebuilding itself from a more real place. That moment when everything you knew felt like it was slipping out of your hands was the same moment your hands began to empty themselves so they could receive something bigger. So listen closely. There is no rebirth without a collapse. No stronger version of yourself without a version that had to die. No growth without a loss that forced you to let go. And yes, it hurts. It hurts like hell. I know. But this is also true. If you're here today, listening to these words, breathing, recognizing, understanding, it's because you did not stay in that moment. It wasn't your ending. It was your beginning. A beginning that maybe started with tears, but is slowly guiding you toward the best chapter of your life. Because that's where you discover your strength, your courage, your ability to rebuild, your real worth. The hardest moments don't come to destroy you. They come to show you what you're capable of surviving. They come to give you the life you truly deserve, not the one you were settling for. So don't be afraid of your dark moments. That's where your power is born. That's where you become unstoppable. That's where life starts preparing you to give you something that will change everything. And has this ever happened to you that you feel like you're walking through your life in slow motion? Like the whole world keeps moving forward and you can't. And you don't know why. You don't understand why. You wake up, breathe, show up, work, smile, but inside there's a part of you that's shattered. And the worst part, no one sees it because you're the strong one, the one who always handles everything, the fixer, the supporter, the one who carries it all. But who holds the one who holds everyone else? Who hugs the strong one when they break? You deserve to fall apart too. You deserve to cry. You deserve to not know what to do. You deserve a break. And I know how exhausting it is always to be the strong one. And I know it because I've been there too. And it's there in that place that the seeds of your next version begin to grow. Because one day, a day that doesn't announce itself, that arrives quietly, maybe while you're washing your face, pouring your coffee, or staring at yourself in the mirror thinking, who am I now? That day that's enough that rises from inside you. A whisper you may ignore at first, but it grows so loud, so uncomfortable, and so persistent that you can't look away anymore. That day you wake up with a different feeling. Not peace, not joy, not relief, it's exhaustion. But a different kind of exhaustion. One that doesn't weaken you, it pushes you. That's the day you say, I can't live like this anymore. I don't want this anymore. I'm not this broken, small, quiet version of myself anymore. And even if you don't see it that way, that day is magical. It's the exact point where something inside you breaks. And at the same time, something inside you is born. Because that day, exhaustion becomes strength. Sadness becomes clarity. Burnout becomes decision. And life puts a mirror in front of you. A mirror that doesn't forgive. A mirror that reflects who you are today and who you no longer want to be. And suddenly, you don't recognize yourself. You don't recognize the woman or a man who settled for emotional crumbs, the one who carried guilt that wasn't theirs, the one who gave twice and received half, the one who asked for permission to exist, the one who shrank so others could feel comfortable, the one who abandoned themselves to hold everyone else together. That moment, that instant when you finally see yourself, lies without excuses, without mask. There's no going back. That day, that awakening is the beginning of the rest of your life. So I want you to ask yourself something. Who would you be if you stopped being afraid? Think about it. Who would you be if your soul didn't shake every time you thought about changing something? Who would you be if you dare to let go, not only of what no longer hurts, but also what still hurts too much because there's still attachment, story, habit? Who would you be if you gave yourself permission, real permission to start again? And we often think letting go means losing. But it's not true. Life doesn't take things from you to punish you. Life isn't cruel. Life isn't mocking you. Life takes things away to save you. Even if you resist, even if you cling, even if you cry, even if you say, but I love them, or, but I wanted it to work. Life removes people who don't deserve you, pulls you away from places where you no longer grow, strips away habits that were slowly killing you, places you in situations you didn't ask for, to reveal truths you didn't want to see. It's not cruelty, it's love. A tough, uncomfortable, surprising kind of love. But at the end of the day, it's love. Because if life doesn't move you, you won't move. And if it doesn't break you, you won't be reborn. There are pains that are warnings, endings that are rescues, losses that are protection in disguise, and people who leave because your chapter in your story is over. And even if it hurts, even if it breaks you, even if it takes your breath away, every bit of it, it's leading you exactly to the place where you need to be reborn. And let me tell you something, I've seen it over and over again in my family, my friends, my work, in myself. Sometimes someone goes through a breakup that leaves them emotionally destroyed. And it doesn't matter if it was love, friendship, family, or a shattered illusion, it breaks them. They cry until they feel empty. They lose their appetite, their sleep, their direction. Their world feels small and meaningless. And they truly believe deep in their soul that this pain will consume them. But one day, without warning, they start walking differently, slowly, gently, but differently. They start speaking with more confidence. They start looking at themselves with more dignity. They start reclaiming pieces of themselves they thought were gone. And they begin to understand, not in their head, but in their soul, that what they lost was never what they deserved. And in that slow, messy, imperfect process, in that silent rebirth no one applauds, that person becomes unstoppable. And maybe someone else loses a job, a project, a place where they felt stable. And suddenly there's no ground under them. They feel lost. They feel like they failed. They don't know where to start again. But then in a tiny, invisible moment, they discover a bigger purpose. One that does fulfill them. One that honors them. One that vibrates with who they truly are, not who society told them they had to be. And maybe someone else experiences betrayal. One that shatters their trust into pieces. One that hurts deeper than the betrayal itself. But from that wound comes a new filter. Sharper intuition, stronger self-love, higher standards, firmer boundaries, a clarity that didn't exist before. And that is the magic. The magic no one explains to you when you're crying on the floor. From what destroys you, something builds you. From what breaks you, something frees you. From what hurts you, something reveals you. From what you lose, something that truly belongs to you is born. From what takes your life for a moment, something returns it with purpose. And when you're reborn, you don't come back the same. You come back different, more aware, stronger, more honest with yourself, more you than ever before. And as always, I want to recommend a book. And today's book is called Rising Strong, Más Fuerte que Nunca by Brené Brown. And this book explores what it truly means to rise after an emotional fall, how to face your pain, how to sit with it, and how to rebuild yourself with strength and authenticity. Brené Brown shares real stories that show us something powerful. True growth only happens when we allow ourselves to feel, reflect, and learn from our wounds. The book teaches us that getting back after the hardest moments is exactly where we find our most genuine strength and our inner power. It reminds us that pain and challenges shape us, push us, and guides us towards our best, most honest version. This book captures today's message perfectly. Suffering is not the end, it's the beginning. It's the opportunity to rise stronger, more awake, and more authentic. Because the hardest moments truly lead you to the most badass, powerful parts of your life. So if today you're going through something hard, breathe. Really, take a breath. Don't punish yourself for feeling what you feel. Don't compare yourself. Don't pressure yourself to heal faster. Don't blame yourself for being tired, confused, or broken inside. You're not failing. You're not losing. You're not going backwards. You're living something your soul understands, even if your mind doesn't. You're transforming, you're growing, you're letting an old version of you die, the one that can't take you into your next chapter. You're shedding a skin that no longer fits, even if it's the one you've worn for years. You're making space for a life you can't even imagine yet. And maybe the most incredible part of your life hasn't even happened yet. But listen closely. The best part of your life is not behind you. It's ahead, waiting for you, building itself with you, day by day, tear by tear, step by step. Your story isn't over. You're not even in the middle. You're just now discovering who you truly are. You're just now waking up. You're just now recognizing the strength that has always been there, hidden beneath the pain. And one day, I don't know when, I don't know where, but one day you're going to look at yourself in the mirror differently. Not with shame, not with fear, not with guilt, but with pride. Because it would all make sense. And you'll say, because of that pain, I am who I am today. Because of what I lost, I learned what I deserve. Because of what broke me, I discovered what strengthens me. Because of what hurt me, I learned to love myself. Because of what shattered me, I know how to rise. And on that day, you'll look back and you'll see your story. And not as a failure, but as a map. A map that was guiding you back to yourself, to your truth, to your power, to your life. And I want you to know this today, not tomorrow, not when you've healed, not when things get better, today. I'm proud of you, of your quiet bravery, of the strength you still don't fully recognize, of your ability to keep going, even when your hands shake. Of your heart, a heart that has been hurt, but is still huge, still noble, and still yours. I'm proud of your story, of your wounds, of your choices, of your rebirth, because yes, you are being reborn. And even if you can't see it yet, even if it still hurts, even if the world doesn't notice, you're becoming the most powerful, conscious, free, and authentic version of yourself. And when you get there, when you feel peace where there used to be anxiety, when you feel clarity when there used to be chaos, when you feel self-love when there used to be doubt, you will thank yourself for every step, every fall, every hard night, every goodbye, every tear, because everything, absolutely everything has been leading you to your best version. What's coming is bigger than anything you've imagined. And never forget this, the hardest moments lead you to the best things in your life. Los momentos más difíciles te llevan a lo más chingón de tu vida. In the description of this episode, you'll find the Amazon link with the complete list of books mentioned on No Me Callo, I Won't Stay Quiet, from the very first episode all the way to today. And don't forget, every Friday, a brand new episode is waiting for you. Next week's episode is called Reconstruyendo tu Confianza, Rebuilding Your Confidence. In our next episode, we're diving into something every single one of us has felt at some point. That moment when you lose yourself, when you stop trusting your own decisions after betrayals, mistakes, or a heartbreak. We're going to talk about how to rebuild your confidence, how to trust yourself again, and how to move forward even when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. It will be an episode filled with stories that breaks your heart and lift your spirit. Stories of people who got up even when they thought they couldn't anymore. We'll also share practical tools and insights to help you reclaim your power, your self-worth, and your truth that you are so much stronger than you think. So if you ever felt fear, insecurity, doubt, if you ever thought you couldn't keep going, this episode is for you. So get ready to connect with yourself, to unbury the strength that has always been inside you, and to walk away feeling braver, more grounded, and ready to take control of your life. Don't miss it. Next week, we'll rebuild your confidence from the ground up with all the power you deserve. Because yes, your best version is waiting for you on the other side of fear. And don't forget, this month my podcast will have 2 giveaways, one in Spanish and one in English. And I want to close out this year with a bang, thanking you for all the love and support you're giving me and the podcast. So how to enter? You must answer this question. What has impacted you the most in 2025? That moment that made you stronger, that moved you, that changed you, that reminded you of who you are. You have to send me your answer directly to me. You can text me if you have my number. You can email me at nomecallowithjessica@gmail.com. You can send me a message in social media, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn, or you can put your answer directly on the platforms on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast. And that's what you have to do. You have to answer that question. You can also share any episode on our social media, on your story, your feed, anything, but make sure you tag me, and that will give you one extra entry depending how many times you do that. You can also comment on any episode, and that will be another extra entry. You can do this as many times as you want. Every comment is another entry, and every share is another entry. But in order to do so, you must answer the question of what has impacted you the most in 2025 and send me your answer directly, whether it's text, email, social media, or in the platforms. You have now until Sunday, December 14th at 11:59 p.m. Central Time to send your answer to this question, and the winners will be announced on Monday, December 15th at 10 a.m. Central Time. So good luck to all of you. You've been listening to No Me Callo, I Won't Stay Quiet. I'm your host, Jessica Lomelin. Until next time.